No brains, like, no brains at all. Literally no brains. Hello race fans and welcome back to Frog Solo TV for episode 17. Brought to you by our great partners TC Media, Rose & Sons Earthmoving and of course Mickey Thompson Tyres. It's been another crazy few weeks, Wheelie, but it's great to be back. I can't believe it's episode 17, but how are you, mate?
Yeah, mate, good. Good for Friday halfie. Decided to knock the boys off and have a few beers instead and do a show.
Yeah.
Only way to go. And mate, we got back on the racetrack the other weekend at Warrielda, the home race, and it was a good race, very well run, and the poor old 62, mate.
Needs some loving.
She needs more than loving. Big time, bad way. But no, I'd really like to congratulate Juck Guy's team, mate. Honestly, they had the victory, and it's his first big victory. Like I know Donington's good, but it's a short course.
With Naps and
Chapo. But you got Naps, Chapo, you had all Richo, you had all like Sam Egan, you had all the guns in behind, Dave Chandler,
and
all
he was
them
there
boys.
from the front too.
And that's the thing. Remember, he was there from the front and he stuck with the front. So maybe this might make him go to a few bigger races.
Go to the next level, That'd be good to see.
Obviously,
obviously a good shout out to Tony Guy, JD does a lot of work. Lockie and Eric who navigated, but we're very stoked for you guys to get the Warrior 200 victory. I know Justin's been chasing for a number of years.
And
finally
we had a good Saturday night here in the shed. And
everyone was in the shed.
And
a bit of money in the shed.
I'll tell you what, never had so much money in the bottom shed in my life.
Things were looking up for a bit.
For about 5 minutes.
Also a special mention, Aaron Havey and Denny Brown on their great victories at the Don River Dash for Havey, and also Denny Brown last weekend at the Pines Enduro down there in Millicent. And we'll cover those events on the next episode. So on to tonight's show, Wheelie, and we have lots to catch up on from the great events held in August. It was another crazy month. We'll cover all things Wynarka, Gundawindi, the David Larder Memorial down there at Beachport, the Camels Capers 180, the Tough As Mini Pave 250 at Port Germain, and of course the Kempsey 300 held over there the last weekend of August. We'll also preview what's to come in the next few weeks, get an update from WA expert Jason Galea prior to Kalgoorlie, and a little fun in between. Wheelie, our contributors have gone above and beyond again in this episode, supplying us with some outstanding coverage from the August events, and trust me, fans, you will not be disappointed on this show.
Not at all.
A massive thank you must go to Brett Lehman, Paul Chorlton and Michael Shipton for their Wanaka media, Denny Brown, Brent Martin, James Mogford, Corey Aldridge, Bowie Graham and Stuart and Clayton Chapman from their coverage of Gundawindi, Shane Heemskirk, Fletcher Murdoch and Mills Media Productions for the wicked footage of the day-night event over there at Beachport, to Jake and Stuart Williamson of JS Motorsport Photography for the pics of the Camels Capers 180, BD Wilson, Jesse Barnes, Paul Chorlton and Brett Lehman again from Port Germain, and to Matty Huxley and David Chandler for the in-car action from Kempsey 300. And also a little shout out to Jason Galea for all your work, mate, for your WA wrap at the end of the show. No words really, once again. The support we receive is overwhelming, and as we said, every show a bit repetitive, but it's just really what everyone likes to see. And
I know we talk about it all the time, but remember, this show wouldn't happen without everyone that does what they do for us. And I know that you spend all the hours on the phone, you do the talk, and I'm just here to make up the number.
Look good.
Look good. That don't happen either, but honestly, mate, it's a
tremendous. And when as I said, you put it all together, and you see everything like you just said, the collage of the different in-cars, the different angles, and when it's all there in one piece, it really is pretty cool.
It is good, and you've got to remember, there's so many different drivers. You got some that drive like one side of the track, the other, and some are just gone. See you later, have a later. See ya.
So we'll get straight into our first event review for August, and we go back to early in the month to the Pro 4x4 Wanaka Enduro, which is round 4 of the 2022 Sailora Series down there in beautiful South Australia, hosted by the Summit Racing Car Club. They had 31 starters, and it was a typical weekend weather-wise in South Australia. All seasons in one day, rain, sleet, wind, it was just everything. It's always the way
unreal,
down there.
it is.
Our good friend Toby Waitley dominated day one proceedings in his rush truck. He led Luke Ersedge and Carl Havey after the opening 120 kilometres. But Wanaka, by all reports, a very technical limestone sort of track, a lot of sand and clay sort of terrain.
Yep.
There is a lot of twisty sections which you can see on some of the in-car, and also some long paddock straights, which is also good to get out and have a bit of relax and stretch those legs.
Have a bit of a stretch, pull the seatbelts.
Unfortunately for the Love Day crew wheeler, we've had said this a few times, and we are Toby's number one supporter. We love seeing Toby Waitley go well. And I believe eventually, as you were talked about, reliability, a bit more to work on in the engine department. Once he gets that sorted, they know themselves, they'll go to that next level.
The car itself is a good car. All the rush trucks, mate, they're good cars.
Yeah.
Only with Tobe, his right foot, he's got to have an engine that can handle the right foot.
Yeah.
It's not nothing to do with the brake. It's to handle the right foot. And I think if he gets the engine sorted, spends a bit of money, I
don't think you ever have to replace the brake pads.
He doesn't use the brakes.
Doesn't use them. But as I said, unfortunately, engine dramas on Sunday morning, leaving the door ajar for Carl Havey to take his fourth Wynarka win in his Toyota twin-turbo powered element machine on a 2.5 minute victory. So great to see Carl back on the top spot of the podium after 4 or 5 years without a win. Luke Ersedge continued his solid season and finished second in his Nissan VQ35 Honey Badger. He's always good to watch, Luke. He drives the doors up. Great for the sport too. All the stuff he does in the workshop back at home in Adelaide. And
that's the thing. He does. You got to remember, he's just not in the sport. Everything he does behind the
lives
scenes.
in the sport.
He lives in
so is his father Ben. The Benny. Followed in by father and son Southern Cross team of Brenton and Matthew Gallish, who was 7 minutes behind in third. Young Sam Bentley impressed his peers, crossing fourth outright in his Sports Light Racer, ahead of Pat Byrne, who took Strand Tour Drive honours in fifth outright by a narrow 6 seconds over Dean Miller. Other class winners at Wanaka included Mark Taylor, Michael Shipton, Ben Fatchin and Ron Ireland. Really to one of the big races of the August month. It was the ARB Gundawindi 400, round 3 of the 2022 ARB Australian Off-Road Championship, and also round 5 of the ARB Mickey Thompson Off-Road Championship. It was a huge field of around 86 cars, took to the green light on Saturday afternoon. Had the honour of calling my first Gundawindi event at Torridon, and also the first event on that property. And although the weekend didn't start to plan well, we had 18 mils overnight there at Scrutineering, and things were looking a bit dicey there early on Saturday morning. But the club and officials worked out a plan, and what an event it was. I mean, the Jamie Knight, Kel Simpson, off-road racing officials, to Jamie's brother, Scotty Coleman, Naps. What they've done,
all Naps' crew. Mate,
well, you've been in earth movement forever, and what they've done out there is remarkable.
It's just hats off to them, and like I said, it's a new track, new facilities. But what they've done out there, mate, like
it nearly brought a tear to your eyes on Saturday morning, seeing that rain.
It was the rain, but I'll tell you what, I'll give Jamie Knight them one thing, and the club, they don't give in. Like, mate, there was people walking at the bank slipping over. Like Kelly was running around like a head cut off. Like she was trying to organise it. Not going to move. Murray and Julie done a good job.
They stuck to the plan.
They stuck to the plan and they got it done.
Still working on parts of the track 10 minutes before the start. And
well, mate, they had a Bobcat that was out the front.
Simon Knight.
Simon did. Took it out the back, fixed the creek crossing. That's dedication, but that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. So despite losing the prologue in the top 10 due to very sloppy conditions, the race went ahead full noise with the one lap on Saturday and the 4 laps on Sunday. Talking about quality of event and quality of officials, but how good is Brent Martin going in his Class 1 Jimco? I mean, he did take the lead there after the second lap on Sunday. Unfortunately, Denny Brown withdrew into the service break with an engine drama. But Brent Martin went bang, 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 took the race lead and was never headed.
And that's the thing, like, when his navigator comes and said done a motor here, radio. No, they come from the horse's mouth.
From George,
so we could actually, like when George said it, we could actually say it. So it wasn't an issue. But then Brent Martin just come to the mate. See you later,
He
boys.
couldn't drive that any harder. I don't think he can.
No.
We saw at Millicent on the weekend. I know going to last weekend's race, but he did go with a conservative approach just to get that championship and still finish third.
Yeah.
So I mean, but at Gundawindi, I don't think it was much conservation. He just drove the doors off it. He did. We talked about it before, and I was talking to Craig Martin. First time I actually talked to Craig at the presentation night, and the amount of work that you know yourself, everything. You look at the Howes Motorsports, you look at Swindlehurst, Ryan Taylor, you look at all the top runners just this season itself, Wrenches, Burrows over the years, Fellows, Peter Kittle Motorsport. All the preparation that he's done in the sheds is what gives you the rewards at the end of the weekend, and there's no better example than Brent Martin.
And I agree, and the worst thing about it, like them boys do all the hours, and okay, we use Bo as an example. Does all the hours in the shed, and something real little lets him down.
You can't prep for that.
You can't prep for that.
So Brent Martin, congratulations on his second outright victory of 2022. Talbot Cox has secured a maiden Gundawindi podium in second outright. That was very well deserved. He was 6 minutes adrift in his racer engineering class unlimited machine. The battle for the podium spot was also very intense, with only 12 seconds separating third to fifth outright. Just when I thought Rana Horan had it looked like Aaron James passed him on the track. He come in. Rana wasn't too far behind, but Aaron picked him by that 7 seconds. So we thought, Aaron James is going to head back to Mildura with the third place in the bag. And then out of the clouds from 16th outright at the start of the day, Mike Marson and Chris Carlborn flew home to make it Racer Engineering 2 and 3, the North Queenslander. And I think he surprised not only the ones on the hill and his fans and even us on the country box, but I think he was the one that was most surprised.
Yeah, I agree.
Because obviously Murray Rogers was directing guys into the podium spots on the fence, but I mean, huge result for Mick Marson and very well deserved.
Mate, Mick deserved it, and
he does a lot. He does a lot of things for Australian off-road.
He does.
I know Talbot Cox, and it's not just those two, but the whole Don River Dash community up there at Burdick and what they've done up there.
We could be here all night talking about everyone that helped, but everyone that's involved in the sport does their little thing, and it's good to see.
Yeah. But very well deserved podium. Bowie Graham produced his first ever Gundawindi finish in 6th outright in a Class 10 title. So well done to Bowie and Ella there. They were very stoked at the presentation night on Sunday evening. Michael Denham dominated the Class 4 trophy truck brigade. Russell Harnett was superb again in his Class 2 Raverback, crossing 10th outright. Russell Harnett, I know you've spent a lot of time in Class 2. I don't think there's been a Class 2 competitor. I mean, some of his results the last 7 or 8 years have been, I know he's got a very good, reliable vehicle, that little Razorback, but I mean, he was 5th outright at Hillston, one of the toughest events of the year. 10th at Gundy with a drama on Saturday. I mean,
mate,
he's right there.
He's right there, and got to remember, the Class 2 cars have come a long way, and if you want to spend a bit of money on the engine and gearbox, you'll go a long way.
They can be very reliable.
They are very reliable, and you know what? It's all about reliability too. You've got to get no good 62, 10 k's before the line, breaking a back arm off it. You've got to finish.
That's right. Also, James Mogford won the hotly contested Class 6 fight in his Can-Am. We'll see some action from the Moggies racing, so thanks, guys. Queensland Championship leader Bryce Derrick continued his strong form to win Class success. Michael Ranson and Christian Truce, others to get Class triumphs. So a wonderful Gundawindi 400 event, really, and it was a pleasure to be there, and hopefully that's one of the events with the Don River. I know Queensland are very strong with their state championship, but it's just going to be it's going to be a boom. And when you got guys like Jamie Knight, Kelly Simpson, Naps, legends like that behind the scenes doing all the work, the event's just going to prosper.
And Joey Bullman,
back.
He'll be back shortly, and
very keep an eye on Joey.
I want to keep an eye on what's going on there.
So now sit back and enjoy some more wonderful in-car action from the famous melon holes of Gundawindi, courtesy of Brent Martin and Danny Brown. Check it out. So now on to the Robe Earth Movers David Larder Memorial Day-Night Enduro down there at beautiful Beachport, hosted by the Millicent Sand Buggy Club Wheelie and on the South Australian coastline. What a stunning layout, the big rolling dunes. I mean, a very unique 16-kilometre circuit. I talked to Daniel Landry in the week. He did say there's a few sections through the trees, a lot of like compacted, harder ground, but I mean, and then the day-night aspect as well, so it really is a pretty cool race down there.
Day-night, mate. Night is just, you go from first to last.
You can't see the night, so you'll know.
Don't tell me about that.
But yeah, a very unique event. Aaron Havey, of course, won the event in 2021. And then this year, young Fletcher Murdoch, the son of Andy Murdoch, took control of his father's element and grabbed an 8-second victory. And we've talked about it a lot over the years. When it doesn't matter the level of competition, who you're against, if you can win an event at any level, it's
mate.
Really cool.
It is. It doesn't matter if you own a Can-Am or you own the biggest pro buggy in Australia, mate. Yeah. You win an event outright, you deserve it.
So hats off to.
Yeah,
what do you reckon? Andy might be.
I think
a
he
bit of
might be
pressure
out.
on.
I think he'll be out. I think he'll be out.
But yeah, congratulations to Fletcher, and look forward to seeing him progress through the ranks over the coming years. One of the South Australian veterans of the circuit, Daryl Nissen, finished second in his Saw Class 1 machine. He finished 1.5 minutes ahead of another young local, Jacob Douglas, who crossed in third out on his new Class 10 Gymkhana. I believe it was one of his first competitive drives as well. So look out for Jacob Douglas. I know he had a good result down at Pines last weekend, so keep an eye on him. The Class 10 Sabre of Brent Knight and the Class 1 of Dean Russ rounded out the top 5 outright. Luke Densley, Aaron Heemskirk, who we'll see some epic in-car action of, including Fletcher Murdoch during this little segment. Jake England and Dean Carter, the other notable finishers from the David Larder Memorial event down there at Beachport. So now check out a cool little video from the David Larder Memorial thanks to the Mills Media Production. Take a look. Capers Nandaly 180 down at beautiful Pier Milan, hosted by the Sea Lake Off-Road Club Wheelie on the 14th of August, round 5 of the Victorian Off-Road Club Shield. They had 36 starters, 4 45-kilometre laps down there, and farm land terrain. It looked pretty damp in places, but it really was a cool aspect, looking at some of the JS Motorsport photography pictures of the beautiful crops, and then the track around the outside really is cool. And
it is, and that country down there can look beautiful, look shit, but I tell you what, this year round, I agree with you.
Great to see.
Yeah, great to see.
They had some rain down there, and the great days of racing was had by all, and it was awesome to see also Chris Martin really get the win, I believe, in the ex-Peter Scarza Feral Unlimited buggy, and he took a 2.5 minute victory. And you know a bit about this machine?
It's a good car, and
I bet you at Nabiac, mate.
Yeah, no, you have to run in. It was me and Bill Coop. We were going hard. One more lap, we had him, but he knew it too.
But hey, it's a very strong vehicle, and I'm sure, don't know Chris Martin that well, I'm guarantee you'll get a lot of fun out of that.
He will, a lot of fun out of that car.
Griffiths Dean McGinley started his hot runner form to finish in second outright in his Class 10 Tatum, so congratulations to Dino, well done mate. Whilst a further 50 seconds adrift was a Class 10 of Brant Knight to round out the Camels Capers 180 podium. South Australia's Brendan Payne led the event into the final lap. They had some issues late during the event to settle for fourth outright, ahead of another Class 10 in Paul Meikle. So that's a wrap of the event down there at Sea Lake. The Tough As Mini Pave 250 wheelie was next on the calendar down there at beautiful Port Germain, and I very fortunate enough to have the honour and privilege to be invited down to call this one with Lynn and Wilson in South Australia. And
yeah, you're lucky, mate.
Got there Thursday afternoon. The hospitality was like walking down the red carpet when I arrived there.
Come on now.
Hosted by, of course, Ian and Brenda Barkler. But it was, yeah, I mean, everything was perfect. We talked about the facilities are exceptional. The track was a hit. They even had the ocean over in the horizon from the commentary box, which is pretty unique. And you don't see that too many off-road events.
Many of
But the track was unique. The big thing for Ian is no rocks, which is rare in an off-road circuit. It's that real red, white, clay sort of terrain, very hard packed. And I mean, yeah, it was very, very damp, I must say, on Friday into the Saturday morning. But once the cars got around the circuit, Sunday was just perfect for racing. And you can just really see why that event is going to be, I reckon, it'll just prosper in years to come. And
every event will get better, mate. It just takes time. Just takes time.
Yeah. And great to see Ian and Brandon doing it themselves on their own back this time. And we've talked about it a lot over the years, really, but if you can leave the circuit, the track, the facility on Sunday afternoon, regardless, you come first, 27th, blowing an engine with that big smile on your face, that's when you know you've done the right thing.
And that's what it's all about, mate. It didn't matter, like, we busted 62 and we're still laughing, giggling, drinking beer, so it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. So yeah, Andrew Miles made the trek down from Alice Springs to top the prologue results. The lead he held into the first section until a flat tire on the final lap on Saturday ended his charge, unfortunately. Matty Curtis set the fastest lap time of the weekend on Saturday afternoon, but himself suffered a power steering drama. That left the door open for Streaky Bay's Simon Tucker and Riley Skinner to take the lead, and they never folded, turning a 7-second overnight lead into a 37-second victory, their first one at that, in their Nissan VQ35 Southern Cross. And really, he actually turtled it at Loveday in his first drive with the ex Brett Smith Southern Cross.
Oh, is that Brett Smith?
Brett Smith's car, yeah. And he once he got in that lead, he's really competitive. He holds on that steering wheel and off he goes. He'll be one to watch. Actually, a bit of a surprise. I tipped him on Saturday afternoon, thinking he might be a bit of a roughie, but he took the win. It was great to see, mate.
Good to see, mate. Southern Cross still going hard.
Yeah, there's a few of them around.
There is.
Adam Burl drove his Black Chev powered Jimco to a spirited second outright. Was a very impressive outing by Bert, who was one of the first to arrive on the track on Thursday. Had a few ales with Adam that first.
Just a few, mate.
With Adam that first afternoon, and he's a cool character. He's moved his Jet Tech shop up to Menham, so I'm sure we'll see him out in 2023. Hamish Lockett delivered a strong result, crossing in third outright in his single-seater dig right machine after starting the final day in fifth. Andrew Miles, exceptional drive on Sunday. I mean, he was 16th at the start of the day, finished in fourth outright, drove the doors off his Razorback on Sunday morning. He was 21 seconds ahead of Cy Heathcliff, who returned to the off-road scene in his Jimco. Jeff Brennan, Jamie Parker, who drove the doors off his four-wheel drive Nissan Patrol all weekend, Hayden Vanstone, Michael Shipton and Ron Island were amongst the other class winners. Now to the last of our event reviews, really. It was the great Kempsey 300, which took place at the last weekend of August, round 3 of the New South Wales Off-Road Championship. It's an event we've become pretty familiar with over the years, and that Wititron circuit, you must say, does get very rough in places.
Oh, it gets rough, but I'll tell you what, Matt Hussey and Toby Turnbull backed it up. I think his last win was in the old car, 2018. Yeah. And, mate, it's hats off, and Matt will just keep on going ahead, mate. And that's why he uses Toby as a navigator. Yeah. They just think like each other, and it's good to see. And
fastest bee farmer in the country.
He's the fastest bee farmer in the country.
But hey, as you said, I mean, he's at that level now. He's got the state wins. He's had a couple of top tens at national.
He has.
Very solid car, and as we've talked about before, he's got the miles under the belt there.
He has. And when Ashley Mowbray and Bob owned it, but Matt's also got to remember he's photographer. He's brought it up that level, And he did. He travelled away.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed.
Look out for Matty in 2023.
I agree.
Darren Williamson scored his best career result, finishing second outright, 4 minutes off Huxley and his team's Jinko. Another cool story for me was the locals. Benny Scott, he scored his first Kempsey 300 podium there in third outright. He was about 4 minutes off Williamson. But a team like that, Scott's Hydraulics, I'm sure they've been so proud on the fence to see Ben bring it home in third.
Ben would be, he'd be still tapping himself on the back going, is this true?
And it's great to see those guys throw so much into the sport.
Over there, over on that side between Don Dingalong, Batitra and those
they're big supporters.
They're big supporters all the time, mate.
So hats off to Ben Scott and his team there.
Yep.
Also to Dean McGinley, continued his hot run with a solid weekend on a rough track there with Titran to finish 4th in his Class 10 Tatum, ahead of the local Super 1650 legend Des Woods, who crossed for a superb 5th outright and a dominant class win. We'll give Wheelie a few words, mate. Des Woods in a class Super 1650 finished 5th at Kempsey. Big effort.
Big effort, mate, for Des. And I'll tell you what, he'll take that one away and come back there next year and go, can I better that?
Yeah.
Because if it's a bit wet over there, Super 1650s do well all the time.
Well, we've seen over the years, I mean, Chris Levi won it twice, Jeff Thomas won in Class 3, we saw Christy Headley win it famously,
Yes.
Gary Hyde won it back in 2010, I think it was, a Class 3 got the win, so it's definitely thrown it's
just getting the horsepower to the ground. And if it's wet, it's definitely a small horsepower race.
Yeah. Michael McLean, Tates Fenson, Rossi Newman and Tim Battle were all others to take home class titles. So another great event over there on the East Coast, really, and they'll head to the season finale now down at Nabiac in a few weeks' time. So now to our event previews, mate, and moving forward this weekend, the final round of the 2022 Sayora Series down there in beautiful South Australia. 25 crews have entered for the Move Yourself Menham Super Sprint 250, hosted by the Adelaide Buggy Club at Havey's place, which is Carl's place, and he will be there in his Toyota twin turbo powered Element, so he'll have to go favourism for me. But
I think so, but I'll tell you what, holy God, he got some good cars behind him.
There's a few boys that'll be right on his heels.
He don't want to have a spin out, mate, he'll be gone.
Adam Burl's there, Nick Hicks, Port Germain champion Simon Tucker's in the field. Dean Carter, Nick Burt and Michael Shipton, who are two contending for the Sayora Series, so good luck to them, are on the entry list. So we'll keep an eye on Menham this weekend. Next weekend, we're off to the Zooms Cup at Texas. Unfortunately, your baby here, the 62.
Yeah, she won't be doing the trip, but we will be doing the trip.
Yeah, we'll go and give Sakura a hand.
I think Brad's taking us over, isn't he?
Look,
He's taking his ute too.
A great little event over there, and we see Naps is on the entry list. Jamie Knight, Richard Tazen. I see Tom Darlington as Paul McCulloch, Hank Park is going over for a run. So great to see the local Queenslanders. It's a really tight knit little event, and it's always.
I reckon after reconnaissance and prologue, I reckon my personal opinion, because we prologue there first, we led that event. I tell you what, Naps, keep an eye on Naps, mate. If he keep the car together, Naps, keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
And Jamie won't be far behind.
Jamie will be right there too.
Jamie right
and watch
there.
out for Richie Tazen. He's always very consistent. I lost the money on you this year, Rich, so you got to put your foot down, mate. Also, the following weekend is jam-packed with the Northern Territory Titles 250 in Alice Springs. And then on to the final round of the New South Wales Championship over at Nabiac. Really, we wish all the best for the Lattimores, Pete Souter, the Farmers, Murray and Ann. They've had some bad luck with the weather, and hopefully it holds off for their event in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, they have, and if it stays fine and they don't get the rain, they'll be right. But the water table with the ocean is so bad over there, and I actually feel sorry for them. I race it when it's wet and race it when it's dry. Yeah. But Mick Lattimore and boys, mate,
put a lot of work in.
They do, and the problem is they go out there every weekend and they're doing something.
Yeah.
You know. It's a big effort. I hope they get to race it.
So all the best to the New South Wales competitors heading to the New South Wales finale there. And I know Dave Chandler leads the way. So all the best to those crews, looking for a maiden New South Wales Championship title. Also that weekend's a Moisten Short Course hosted by the Geelong Off-Road Club down there in Victoria. And then really the following weekend is the Queensland finale up there at the Federal Short Course at Karoi. And we know Bryce Derrick leads the way there by 7 points over Clayton Chapman, Stewie Chapman in third. So he's going to come right down to the wire. We know Bryce Derrick won the event there in April this year on a wet circuit.
A wet circuit.
We ran that. We raced that year, and it's a tough short course track.
It is tough, mate. I'll tell you, it's tough. And 62 come out of it all right, but it was tough. But I'll tell you what.
You reckon Clayton will be coming?
Clayton's going to be coming, and he'll have a dig, mate.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he'll have a dig.
So was Jewish.
And don't worry, you just got to remember, brothers behind.
Yeah.
Brother's going to be the one to watch. They're strong.
But unfortunately, we won't make the federal short course because we'll be on a big bad plane heading across the Nulla border, Kalgoorlie, for the 2022 Kalgoorlie Desert Race. And yeah, fortunate enough to be invited over by the Western Desert Racing Club.
Yeah, it was good of them to invite us back.
We went over in 2019.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
Oh, what a scene it's set though. It's the last round of the Australian Off-Road Championship, the last round of the Western Australian Off-Road Championship. Everything to play up for. We've got 98 crews. I think it's 165 bikes. It's just going to be an epic weekend. Jake Swinglehurst, Ryan Taylor, Brent Smoothie, Comiskey, Mel Brand will all be vying for a maiden, and it's a big thing.
It's going to come down
to the last lap. It'll be down to the last lap. Yep.
It is going to be epic.
It's going to be a cracker.
Epic.
And of course, also you've got the Bo Robinsons, the Greg Gartners on the entry list, and a lot of the local WA crews that are very, very quick.
And you've got to remember, the way the boys, they'll throw a spinner in the works.
They'll sit somewhere where someone doesn't want to be.
He doesn't want to be. Bugger you, but guess what?
That's how it rolls.
That's how it rolls.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that. And of course, last weekend we saw Brent Martin, Andre De Simone win the ARB Australian Off-Road Championship.
Yep.
So hats off to those guys. I mean, their season's been remarkable. In a few weeks' time, we'll see a Motorsport Australian Off-Road Championship, which we're very much looking forward to. And it gives me goosebumps already thinking about calling that car home. But it could be the first. Could it be a Queenslander for the first time since 1982?
It'd be
since
good.
Paul Zacher won it, back in the day.
It'd be good to see Queenslander.
And
I tell you what, he's worked hard to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of contenders there still with a shot. The state championship is also on the line. Adam Trewella leads the way there. So take a look at this short WA update from Jason Gleer.
So far, the 2022 Western Australian Off-Road Racing Championship has seen some great racing. We started off the season at Perenjori, where Adam Trewella powered his way to his first outright win, ahead of Dave Rowett and Jared Percival. This was then backed up at Ben Coven, where Trewella went back-to-back, this time ahead of Jared Percival, with Brad Krapp in third. Stephen Hall notched up his first outright win at the Gascoyne Dash, with Adam Trewella settling for second and Jared Percival making its third straight WARC podium for the year. With Three Springs unfortunately being cancelled due to rain making the track impassable, we now look forward to the Kalgoorlie Desert Race, which finally takes its rightful place on the Australian Off-Road Racing Championship calendar. As this footage shows from previous years, the KDR is one hell of an event and the racing should be fantastic. On behalf of everyone in WA, we can't wait to see you at KDR 2022.
So before we finish tonight, Wheeler, I just want to give our little mate Lincoln Taylor a huge shout out. This week, 14-year-old Link has been over in Malaysia at the Sepang circuit for the 2022 Ferrari Driving Academy with 23 of the most talented young drivers from across Asia Pacific. Unfortunately, Wheelie, Link didn't make the cut, but it's a great experience for him and his family, and we're all very proud of him here at Frog Island in Australia, and I'm sure he'll be back out on the off-road track very soon.
Yeah, he will be, mate. And you just got to remember, having all the pedigree behind him, mate, like, you know, his grandfather, his father, like Nev, and then his uncle, like,
Ryan shooting for number one.
Number one. Like, we'll be over there in a couple of weeks shouting him on. Like, mate, it's a very big experience. But as he matures, he could go a long way. And
he has been asked back next year.
And he has been asked back. So, have you guess what? He's already one step ahead. So, good on him. And I tell you what, it is in the pedigree. It's no different for what we do. Roses from Terry, the whole show down, mate. Like, it's in the pedigree, mate. It's in the blood.
So, yeah, well done, Link. Very proud of you, mate. And hopefully we'll see you on the off-road track very soon. So that's a wrap on tonight's show, Wheelie. There was so much to get through. For those heading to the Zooms Cup next weekend at Texas, we will see you there. And then on to Kalgoorlie in a few weeks' time. Stay safe, everyone competing in the coming weeks. And importantly, stay tuned for the next episode of Frog Solo TV. Cheerio.
Cheerio.